Hello and welcome to another Minecraft tutorial and building discussion. Today we're going to go over requirements and handy tips to easily build fortified walls and towers that look good and will protect your village, your base, or anything else from common overworld mobs. By the end of this video, you should understand a few rules and considerations for building basic walls and towers, and you should be able to add them easily to your own survival world. First question we should ask is, how high do the walls around your village or base absolutely need to be? Fact is, the player can simply hide behind a too high wall, and most enemies will be none the wiser. With a fortified wall, we are seeking to be able to stand on the wall and kill enemies below while being safe from retaliation. This is what we're trying to design. To be out of attack range of a zombie, the player just needs to stand on top of a too high pillar or wall. But a creeper who approaches the too high wall still detonates. However, if the player is standing on a 3-high wall, the creeper does not explode. But a skeleton will still shoot the player, and a spider will climb right up and attack. To prevent the skeletons and spiders from attacking the player on the wall, we must surround the top of the wall with ledges to block attacks from below. I've surrounded the top of this wall with stairs, and now let's see what the mobs do. The skeleton is like under the ledge, and it can't see me to shoot me. Occasionally they will lose interest in coming after me, and they'll wander out from under the wall. But then they wander right back under the wall and they lose interest. The spider is stuck here. After the skeleton went under the ledge, its arrows were unable to harm the player. But if the skeleton maintains range out there and shoots, then the player has no cover to hide behind. Let's place blocks on top of these ledges and try again. I'll place them 1 block apart. If the skeleton loses line of sight with the player, it might move out from under the ledges, but when it sees the player again, it moves back. Until it moves back under, we can break line of sight by moving behind one of these blocks. However, while these ledges prevent the spider and skeleton from hurting the player, we have no way to kill these mobs from atop this wall. We're effectively stuck up here. Let's take away every other stair block from the side of the wall and see what happens. Okay, it looks like the skeleton is kind of walking around using the spaces between here to take shots at me. The creeper's ineffective. The skeleton loses interest once I lose line of sight with him. And I could just reach right down and kill this spider while it's stuck on the underside of the ledge. So as you saw, we were able to easily dispose of the spider stuck under the stairs, but the skeleton was able to remain combat effective. Against a pack of skeletons, our wall is even less effective. The problem is we're simply too close to the ground and the skeletons. This means our walls must be higher than 3 blocks. Skeletons have a detection range of 16 blocks and will fire on players and certain mobs within 15 blocks. Here then is a wall that is 15 blocks high. Notice anything? Yes, standing on this wall is a bit scary. So let's agree that we need a nice 2 or 3 wide platform up here to move around on. Let's reestablish the underledge to block the spiders, and put blocks on top of those so we can break line of sight with skeletons at a distance. We need effective guardrails to prevent us from falling through these gaps. However, we don't want to lose the ability to shoot arrows at enemies below the wall. We can place walls between these sightline blocks because they prevent the player from falling through the gap while still allowing the player to shoot down through this small gap at the ground. We're actually recreating here a feature of historical medieval walls, which are called matriculations. Let's test this 15-high block wall against overworld mobs. So a 15-block high wall with battlements is extremely effective against overworld mobs. And with our battlements and matriculations at the top, it's starting to look a lot like a medieval wall. This overhang looks pretty bad though. We can balance that out by adding another line of bricks below the battlements and then supporting columns called buttresses going down the wall to the ground. Isn't that a fun word? Buttress! We want to prevent mobs from walking under the walkway or we won't be able to shoot them from above. So we need at least 2 rows of blocks across here. To spawn proof these, we can use stairs or slabs, and I'm going to go with stairs. And to make this upper platform look more supported, we can add stairs in these gaps. By now, you might realize that we have designed a fortified wall in the medieval style. On the backside, we could replicate the battlements and buttresses we utilized on the front, but that's going to cost a lot more stone. Instead, we could follow what was historically done and build an extension off the backside made entirely of wood. We need another line of planks to support a railing, and I'm going to use alternating slabs and stairs. This not only reduces the amount of wood used to make stairs, but it looks better. We can support this overhang with more slabs and stairs placed every other block. And if you don't feel this overhang looks well enough supported, you can run log columns all the way up to it. Since we don't find any oak trees this tall anywhere else in Minecraft, I would recommend replacing a couple logs with planks or something to make it seem as if these posts are being joined together. I could spend all day long adding more details to these walls, but we have some more questions to ask ourselves about the effectiveness of this design. While 15 or 16 blocks high certainly allows the user to avoid detection by skeletons, is it necessary? Is it too high? And if we reduce the height, can we save on materials that way? Let us also consider the question of how we get up and down the walls quickly and safely. Yes, we could put a ladder going up the back of the wall, but tall ladders are generally considered unsafe, and this one is 15 blocks tall. 15 blocks is 15 meters, which is almost 50 feet tall. Does anyone really feel safe climbing a ladder 50 feet high in real life without a safety cage? And yes, you can actually build a safety cage around a ladder like this one. Yes, medieval walls did sometimes employ ladders to get up and down, but commonly, if an ally above is hit and falls backwards over the side and down the ladder, they will knock down everyone climbing up. A more elegant solution to ladders could be to build towers at intervals along our walls, and inside those towers, we can enclose the means of transporting players up to the battlements. That method could be just a ladder, yes, but you don't really need a tutorial to help you with that. I would like to suggest that we try building spiral stairs inside towers to provide access to the fortified walls. In a previous tutorial video, I showed you how to build square or rounded spiral stairs. Proceeding to build a 4-block high tower here, the spiral staircase we build inside arrives at the block directly above where we start. But that's not what we want. We want to arrive at the side so the player can step out onto the wall. We can get there if we raise this tower 1 more block and add 2 more slabs to the spiral stairs. Let me raise this tower 3 more blocks and put a doorway on the side. Our wall would start below this door and be only 6 blocks high. I've extended it out to 7 blocks wide. And frankly, this just doesn't look all that good. If I add buttresses and details to this wall, it's gonna look deformed. Historically, the average height for medieval city or castle walls was 9 meters or 30 feet tall. That'd be 9 or 10 blocks. So let's go back to where we left off with the spiral stairs inside a tower that's 5 blocks high or 6 blocks with the floor. Let's expand these walls upward 4 more blocks and then continue running our spiral staircase around. So the spiral stairs arrive at the side of the tower 9 blocks up, or 10 if we include the floor. That's perfect. Let's add all the features we added to the first wall: a walkway, buttresses and battlements, and machicolations. But what do we do with the top of this tower? Let's close off the backside for starters. Let's leave a doorway here where the stairs arrive. I think 1 more level of bricks should be enough to attach battlements to the tower without looking weird. Like we did with the walls, I'm going to put upside down stairs every other space, and then blocks on top of each, and then walls between to form the machicolations. Inside the tower, I'm just going to place another slab here to end the stairs and then run a ladder up the wall. It's only 4 high, which is nice and safe. Tall ladder bad, short ladder good. Let's raise this central post up another 4 so that it appears to support the roof above, and then let's fill the top with stone bricks. Above the ladder, let's put a spruce trapdoor, and since you can climb up trapdoors, we can access the roof and close it beneath us. We need a safety rail here, which means another slab here and a rail on it. But does this mean we'll bump our heads on the stairs? Nope, we're good. On the battlements, we have pretty good protection behind these blocks, but we can make it even easier to break line of sight with enemies below just by adding a slab on each. Our tower and wall are looking great. and combat feels like shooting fish in a barrel. But how do we connect this tower to another section of walls over here? Let's just go downstairs to the opposite wall and pop out a doorway here. It's 2 blocks lower than the other door, but I'll show you what to do. If we make an 8 high wall out here, extend it 1 and place a stair on top, extend it again and place another stair, then we're 10 blocks high, just like the other wall. Then let's run 2 lines of bricks along the top, our buttress columns and base, and our battlements. From down here, you can't even tell. It's nice and uniform. Now we just need the wooden extension off the back, and you can't even tell there's stairs there. This kind of fortified tower between 2 wall segments is known as a turret tower. Soldiers wouldn't normally hang out here all day exposed to the sun or the elements. They'd stand guard in watchtowers with rooftops and only deploy to the turret towers at the start of battle. Watchtowers would typically be positioned on the corners of the property with walls on 2 corners. As you can see, I've replicated this turret tower over here to the corner. Because it's a corner tower, we're not worried about elegant transport to the ground level, especially since we don't really have room for a proper door down here. So inside the corner tower, we're good with a flat level. That way we can just make the corner very easily. I divided this into 2 rooms so that the ladders between are short, just like I like, and we have 2 barracks rooms for the watch to sleep in, but you can really do anything you like. And like I said, a watchtower would have a roof, usually made of wood, and this is very easy to add. I'm going to put oak log posts 4 high in each corner, connect them with cross beams, and then do a very easy roof just by putting stairs around the outsides. Covering the corners with planks, I'm just going to keep putting stairs on 4 sides until I reach the top and top it with a fence under a slab. This way it's very easy to hang a chain and lantern on the underside. Notice I've put chests and barrels here to contain bows and arrows and food, but I don't recommend cluttering this area too much. Here I have a different version of our walls, same measurements and design, but with round 7x7 towers. Because the rounded side of the tower lines up with the buttresses, it's impractical to start with your wall with another buttress. To compensate, I just start the battlements a little earlier here in this corner. Same thing with the wood extension on the back. The tower top also needs to be handled differently, and we'll start with the outside first. Raise these walls up 4 above the wall height, and then 2 more for a total of 6. Fill in both sides of each corner with 2 stacked blocks each and a stair block facing the front of whatever side it's on. Now add 3 upside down stairs across the top and 2 more to each side. 3 more across the side and 5 more across the back. Then 3 more on this side. Now just top all your stairs with blocks, walls in the gaps, and slabs on top. Leave these corner blocks uncovered. The same rules I applied to the turret towers apply to these as well, and when topping them with wooden roofs, go ahead and start your oak posts on top of these corner blocks without slabs. I've made pretty much the same roof here, but it's quite a bit larger and quite a bit grandiose. In fact, it might work a little bit better on the rounded towers. So that's pretty much everything I know about designing and building walls to surround your village or your base. This is just one easy method with a lot of considerations, and I'm sure there's others. And in the next video, we'll put it all together and discuss an easy way to build your own castle. Hope to see you then!